it's summer and today I'm doing my favorite books of 2019. Howell found one of his mouse toys that Travis's mom got him for Christmas, so he's been going crazy with the zooms chasing it. So you'll be hearing lots of that throughout this video. I first wanted to start off my list of favorite books from this last year with two kind of like honorable mention favorites. They're two of my most recent reads. I read them right at the very end of the year, so I almost am wondering if my positive feelings about them are just because they're the most fresh in my mind. So I don't really know if my opinions of them will change as the year goes on, but just in case they are true feelings, I wanted to share them in this video. This one is Uprooted by Naomi Novik. This is about a girl that lives in a village that is protected by this magician sorcerer guy called the Dragon, and every 10 years he picks a young lady from the town to come and live with him for those 10 years, and during those years they don't get to see their friends or family, and nobody really knows what goes on while they're living with him. Everybody in the town thinks that this one certain girl is going to be picked, but the main character actually gets picked instead of her. So it's just us following her journey with this sorcerer magician guy. I loved the writing of this book, particularly when she was writing about magic and how it's spoken or experienced or looks visually when it's being created or used, like using spells and stuff. It was just done in a way that I was really able to visualize it, and it was just magical. I thought this was young adult, but when I went to Barnes & Noble to go buy it, I found out that it was in the adult fantasy section, which I liked for this book. I feel like if it was young adult, I wouldn't have liked it as much. It had a little bit more of that grit that adult books have, and I just like that better, I think. This is the last book that I read in 2019, and it's The Grey Seer by Kim Liggett. This is one of my favorite covers ever. I love it. I love the pink. I love the red ribbon after reading the story especially. I love the spot UV, I think that's what it's called, flower kind of drawings that are on here. You probably can't see that, but I love the typography. Everything about this book is just beautiful. I did not like the beginning of this book, but the end is what sold it for me. Our main character Tierney lives in this dystopian society where all the girls that turned 16 that year get sent out into the wilderness to spend a year out there and survive to release their magic. So they're trying to survive the elements, they're trying to survive each other. They're also trying to survive these poachers that kind of wait outside of the camp. In case any of the girls come out, they will kill them and sell their body for parts on the black market because they think their bodies are magic because of this Grey Seer that they're experiencing. So there's a lot of dangers around them. I felt like the beginning of this book felt very immature, and it had petty high school girl drama stuff going on, like drama over boys and stuff. But the ending really took me by surprise. There were a lot of plot twists that I did not see coming. It makes me want a sequel, but at the same time not want one because I love how open-ended it was. I also really loved the use of flower language in this book. In the society that this girl lives in, depending on a flower that you wear or that you give someone, it says something. The flower will have a meaning, so if you wear that flower or give it to somebody, you can be giving them a message. There's just a really cool language of flowers that's used in this book that I've never seen done before, and I thought it was super cool and unique. I also loved the forbidden romance in this. It was really good. Pretty much all of BookTube loved this book this year, and that is Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. This is about a girl that works at a library that has grimoires or magical dangerous books in it, and she is kind of the keeper of these books. One day a really big dangerous one gets out and she's kind of blamed for it. She has to end up going to the Capitol or something to defend herself. It says, with no one to turn to but her sworn enemy, the sorcerer Nathaniel Thorne, and his mysterious demonic servant, she finds herself entangled in a centuries-old conspiracy. I loved how magic worked in this book. The sorcerers, the way that they get their magic is by making these deals with demons, and then the demons are kind of their companion for the rest of their life. I just loved all of that, that side of everything. I liked the romance in here. I also just loved that it was kind of a book about books. I just thought this was a really clever, unique story that was very new to me. I read both of Taylor Jenkins Reid's newest releases this year. I'm literally a year late. This was on everybody's 2018 favorites list. I liked Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo better than this one, but they're still pretty equal. I just like this one a little bit better. This one, I normally do not like books about music, but I liked the way that this was told. It's kind of done by interviewing the different band members years after the band has broken up. I feel like everyone already knows what these books are about. But I just really loved how Taylor Jenkins Reid wrote about music in this book. I feel like music would be such a hard thing to write about and get across to readers because music is obviously experienced with your ears instead of with your eyes reading a book. but I thought she was able just to get across the feeling of how music makes you feel when you're listening to it or when you're writing music. I just thought she did such a good job writing music into a book. I just feel like that would be so hard. So I just feel like she executed it really well, and she's just a really talented author. I really, though, just loved Evelyn Hugo so much. I liked the way that this book was told as well, kind of through an interview format. And I just loved hearing about her life. I found myself like almost going to Google her, like Googling the movies she was in or certain outfits she was wearing or certain husbands that she had. I would go to look her up and then have to remind myself that no, she's fictional, this is from a book. And it kind of made me sad. Like, I really want to be able to see more of her life. I want to be able to watch the movies that she was in. But I just loved the romance in here and seeing the different sides of Hollywood. It was just a very interesting book. I just really loved it. This one is In an Absent Dream by Seanan McGuire. I feel like every single year that she puts one of these books out, it's just going to be on my favorites list automatically. I just am in love with her writing. She's such a talented author. It's just so whimsical and magical. I just feel like she packs so much into a small amount of pages, but does it in like the perfect amount of pacing and timing. This one follows a character from the first book when she's younger and she goes to this place called the Goblin Market. It feels very like autumn and cozy. You don't get to see some of the adventures that she goes on, but you hear about them and you see the aftermath of how it's affected people. I just really loved how the story was told. It really was just magical, and I cannot wait for, I think it's Come Tumbling Down that's coming out, I think this month or next month. I cannot wait, but I loved this one. Next I have The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. I've been recommending this book to everybody. It's about a girl who goes to nanny these evil children at this smart house. And things just kind of go wrong. You're hearing her story through these letters that she's writing to her lawyer that she wants to represent her because she's in prison because she's been accused of murdering one of the children that was in her care. But she's in the smart house with the children trying to sabotage her. She doesn't really know how the house works or like what to do with certain things, and things just go bad. The ending of this book, though, was so good. Like, from start to finish, this book was really good and I was just like gripped, but the very end was just like so good. This honestly was just like a perfect book pretty much. It did have a little bit of an open ending, but I loved that about this book. And then last, one of my absolutely favorite books of all time now is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. This was definitely a very popular book this year. I think even people that are not readers would recognize this book just because it's kind of one of those books, you know? This is about a girl who grew up uneducated in this marsh. People in town kind of looked down on her. She was abandoned by her family and she's just kind of been living out there on her own. She ends up befriending this boy who she later on kind of has a romance with, and he ends up teaching her how to read and write, and she starts to catalog all of the living things in this marsh that are around her. Along with this really sweet kind of coming of age historical fiction setting and timeline, you're also following another perspective years in the future where this same marsh girl is being accused of murder. I keep saying marsh girl, her name is Kaya. The ending of this book as well was just so good. So the whole thing was great. And then the ending just packed that extra punch that just like blew me away and made this one of my all-time favorite books. This is kind of what helped me decide to give historical fiction more of a chance, because I normally don't love to read historical fiction, but this is such a great book from that genre that I'm really glad that I picked up. So those were all of my favorite books that I read this last year in 2019. Let me know down below what your favorite books of the year were. Let me know if you read any of the same books as me, and I will see you guys in my next video.